every time someone talks about Secret Invasion, it just kind of gets worse. Secret Invasion was absolutely one of the biggest disappointments people have seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's saying something with all the massive flops that they've had. But Secret Invasion with Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury's return to the MCU, tying in with all these different, whether it's Disney Plus shows or whether it's movies that had come out or will come out like the Marvels, it was supposed to tie everything together, and it was a massive disappointment. From Nick Fury being a piece of shit to Emilia Clarke's character getting every single superpower, and I'm not exaggerating, getting every single superpower and becoming the most superpowered character in the entire universe, to the reveal of Don Cheadle being a Skrull since Civil War, all this nonsensical bullshit that happened in this show. But every time anyone comes out and reveals some things about it, it gets worse. MCU producer reveals the real reason why Maria Hill got killed off. Long story short, well, we wanted people to take it seriously, so we decided that somebody had to die. That's actually what they said. So in the first episode or second episode, whichever it was, of a show that almost no one watched, they killed off a character who'd been present since phase 1 of the MCU. And not shockingly, they're getting kind of blasted for it in the comment section. Main character from the Avengers era killed off in a mid-show. We really had to illustrate the scale and reality of the danger that Gravik posed, and we didn't want to bother doing it through the writing, so we just came up with a blunt force trope instead. Her character's life added more value than death. The amount of poor creative choices they made in this show was unreal. I hated so many things, I forgot they did this. It might be the worst MCU project ever, just from the ramifications. Hill dead, Rhodey been a Skrull, Talos dead. We now have the most overpowered character ever with the dumbest power ever a kindergartner probably came up with. And also Nick Fury is now a loser. Like, they're getting fucking annihilated by almost everyone, killed her in a throwaway series. This, I think, was a wake-up call to a lot of people, both with the low viewership, the bad reaction from critics and fans alike. There was no way to spin this into a success. And every time someone reveals why they did some of the things they did, they get mocked and ridiculed, and rightly so. This whole series was maybe a turning point for the public perception of Marvel.
I clearly didn't watch Secret Invasion, and I was never going to watch it because it's a pile of shit. But Nick Fury is a classic example of a race-swapped character, and because he wasn't built on social justice, like, yeah, there were people out there that had a problem with the casting, a few, you know what I mean? People that just had a problem with the casting. I have a problem with race swapping characters in general, but Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury went on to become a pretty popular character within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then this series starts. This whole arc is him blaming racism and talking about injustice and all this bullshit, right?
I don't know about the whole show, but that was a prevalent topic, especially in the beginning. Him sitting down with Rhodey, who then turned out to be a Skrull, complaining about how black men get kept down and they have to stick together and all this shit. Yeah,
Yeah, and
100%.
it's just like
him talking about a black man in Russia and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's so out of nowhere with all the stuff the MCU has done and built up, and then you bring that into it all of a sudden. And when you have anyone in the writing room that is willing to bring that bullshit into the equation, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you can go ahead and assume that everything that they're going to tell you in terms of the story is going to be dog shit. It's going to be broken. It's going to be bad. Whenever there's social justice is part of the equation, just understand that more than likely the rest of it's going to be bad, because anybody who's writing starts out with racism and black people are oppressed and white people are terrible. Whenever that is the beginning, you can understand that the people writing it probably don't have a clue what they're doing. And that seems to be what happened with Secret Invasion. All the ramifications, the destroying of the universe. Like, again, to me, I think the universe has been destroyed. 100% though. If Endgame would have been the end of the MCU and then they rebooted it, I think they'd be in a much better place. But that was never going to happen. And you know exactly why it was never going to happen, because they had so much momentum that they had to capitalize off that momentum by pushing their woke bullshit, because they know that they've rebooted with woke bullshit to start would have been a much tougher path for them, a much tougher path. And that's why they just wanted to capitalize off of that pre-existing world that they created with good movies and good storytelling and good characters, so they could push their bullshit into it.